There was a man who built a house, and he was called a fool. The storms they came and the ground gave way. Should have gone to building school. Let the rain fall down, let the wind blow loud, 'cause I am not built on sinking sand. On Christ the rock I stand. A wiser man, he built his house on ground that didn't move. The storms they shook, but the house still stood. It was strong and super good. Let the rain fall down, let the wind blow loud, 'cause I have not built on sinking sand. On Christ the rock I stand. Let the rain fall down, let the wind blow loud, 'cause I have not built on sinking sand. On Christ the rock I stand. So build your life on things that last, like faith and truth and love. So you'll be strong when the hard times come, and you'll sing along with us. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. All other ground is sinking sand. Let the rain fall down, let the wind blow loud, 'cause I have not built on sinking sand. On Christ the rock I stand.
Cannonball! Oh, hey guys, how's it going? Having a good summer so far? Man, liking that pool, eh? Hope I didn't get you guys wet. What are you guys doing here? What's that? I'm supposed to be doing the children's message today? I don't think so. What day is it? I am? Oh man. What are we talking about again? Jesus miracles or something? I got some good ones for you guys today. Just let me dry off a little bit, okay? I'll be right back. There we go. That feels a little bit better. I feel pretty refreshed. I don't know about you guys. Hopefully you didn't get too wet there. You'll dry off eventually, right? Well, where were we again? We were talking about Jesus and some summertime things. So, talked about fishing a couple weeks ago. Why don't we talk about boating this week? Do any of you guys have a boat or know somebody who has a boat? We used to have a boat. Here, I'll show you. We used to have a boat with an engine on it. It was pretty fun moving about in the water like that. Now, we have a different boat. It's powered by paddles. Sometimes the wind, if it really carries it, it's called a canoe. You know what? Jesus and his disciples would go out on boats quite a bit too. His friends were fishermen, just like Mrs. Takama was talking about a couple weeks ago. She was talking about fishing and fishing for men and fishermen. Jesus' friends, a bunch of them were fishermen. There are a lot of other stories with Jesus in boats as well. Jesus even taught people from a boat. In Mark 4, it tells us, again, Jesus began to teach by the lake. The crowd that gathered around him was so large that he got into a boat and sat in it out on the lake while all the other people were along the shore at the water's edge. Whoa. A crowd so big Jesus had to go into a boat to teach by the lake? That's crazy. What's that? There's a fish on my head. No, there's not a fish on my... There's a fish on my head, guys. Again, I solved this problem. Look at him. He's looking at me. Oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Actually, you know what? That's a good fish. That's a nice little fishy. He's not going to hurt me. Aw, little fish. Nice. Well, why don't I tell you guys another story about Jesus in a boat while I try to shake this guy off. Later on in Mark it says, that day when evening came, he, that's Jesus, said to his disciples, let's go over to the other side. Leaving the crowd behind, they took him along just as he was in the boat. There were also other boats with him. A furious squall came up, and the waves broke over the boat so that it was nearly swamped. Jesus was in the stern, sleeping on a cushion. The disciples woke him and said to him, Teacher, don't you care if we drown? He got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the waves, Quiet, be still. Then the wind died down, and it was completely calm. He said to his disciples, Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith? They were terrified and asked each other, Who is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him. Well, looks like I got rid of that fish. About time, isn't it? It's not coming back, I don't think. Hopefully not. Jesus was able to calm the storm just by telling it to stop. Isn't that kind of power pretty awesome? That's the kind of power Jesus has. I wish I could use that kind of power sometimes to stop some of the storms my kids start up. Anybody have any ideas how I can get that? No? That's too bad. That's not the only time that Jesus showed that awesome kind of power, though, too, and his power over nature. Here's another story where Jesus was in the water, and we read that one in Matthew. In Matthew 14, verse 22 through 33, we read about Jesus walking on the water. Immediately, Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go on ahead of him to the other side while he dismissed the crowd. After he had dismissed them, he went up on a mountainside by himself to pray. Later that night, he was there alone, and the boat was already a considerable distance from land, buffeted by the waves because the wind was against it. Shortly before dawn, Jesus went out to them, walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. It's a ghost, they said, and cried out in fear. But Jesus immediately said to them, Take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid. Lord, if it's you, Peter replied, tell me to come to you on the water. Come, he said. Then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, and came toward Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, Lord, save me! Immediately Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. You of little faith, he said, why did you doubt? And when they climbed into the boat, the wind died down. Then those who were in the boat worshipped him, saying, Truly you are the Son of God. Wow. Have you guys ever tried walking on water? I did. Want to see? Okay, just a minute. All right, so here we go. We're going to make a couple of attempts at walking on water. See if we can do it. All right? First attempt, walking on water. Take one. How's it going? Didn't work. You know what? Why don't we try it with sandals on? I bet you Jesus and Peter were wearing sandals. This makes sense. Here we go. Attempt number 2. No. One more try. Confidence. Confidence is key. I can walk on water. I can walk on water. Well, I guess it just didn't work. Yeah, that that didn't go over so well, did it? I wasn't really able to walk on water. No, but tried. Did you guys see anything similar about the two stories that we heard today about the miracles that Jesus did? Well, I saw a couple of things that stood out to me. One is that Jesus' disciples were afraid. In the first story, when Jesus was sleeping, the disciples woke him up and Jesus said to them, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" That sounds a lot like what Jesus said to Peter when he tried to walk on water, doesn't it? Peter started out strong. He was walking on the water toward Jesus, and he got afraid and he started sinking. He started thinking about the wind and the waves around him. Started thinking about them. And he saw them and then he started to sink. I know, it's a bad dad joke. You get the picture. Jesus reached out his hand and caught Peter and said, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" In both those cases, Jesus talks about faith. That's belief, trust in God. "Oh, you of little faith," he said. The disciples didn't trust that God would protect them when they were in the boat, and Peter didn't believe that he could do something as amazing as continue to walk on water in the middle of a storm. He didn't trust God enough. He didn't have enough faith. That's when he started to sink. What can we learn from this? Two things come to mind for me. First, God can do great and amazing things when we have faith in him. Peter was walking on water for a little while. That is pretty crazy. Does that mean we should be able to walk on water like Peter? Not necessarily, but God can still do amazing things when we have faith in him, when we put our trust in him as well. Second thing we can learn from this is that God's in control of everything, even the weather. When Jesus calmed the storm, the disciples said, "Who is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him." After they saw Jesus walking on water, they said, "Truly, you are the Son of God." Jesus' disciples saw firsthand and recognized that Jesus is God, that he is in control of everything. Okay, kids, that's about it for me for now. I think this may be the last of our kids' messages for a little while as well, so it has been so much fun talking to you guys, and I hope you guys have learned a lot and had some fun along the way as well. Hope you guys have a great summer, and if you're going to try walking on water like I did and like Peter did as well, make sure you have somebody nearby who can help pull you out, just in case it doesn't work for you.
Hold up, you mean that's the end? Kapit, kapush, it's all done. Alright, well, it's been fun. See you later.